Vietnam will officially pilot a domestic carbon credit trading exchange as outlined in a revised decree by the government. With major industries preparing for tighter emission regulations and green investments gaining momentum, how ready is Vietnam to embrace this transition? How can businesses make use of the trading exchange? And what can Vietnam learn from international experience? We'll find out more in this week's Crosstalk. But first, let's see how Vietnam is setting its journey for the carbon credit trading exchange implementation.
From 2025 to 2028, Vietnam plans to trial its domestic carbon market, with full-scale operations and international connectivity slated for 2029. Key legal foundations include Decree No. 06/2022 and the revised Decree No. 119, issued in June. In particular, by 2028, Vietnam aims to establish a national registry system, launch a pilot domestic carbon trading platform, and roll out carbon credit exchange and offsetting, alongside programs to raise awareness and build capacity for a carbon market. The Ministry of Agriculture and Environment will lead the development and operation of the registry, ensuring data integration between the registry and the trading platform. From 2029 onward, Vietnam plans to introduce greenhouse gas emission quota auctions, finalize carbon credit regulations, and establish a full legal framework to connect the domestic market with the global carbon market.
So today we are happy to have Mr. Denzel Eads in the studio with us, Managing Director at Pioneer International Consulting, to talk about carbon credit. And we will also be connecting with Mr. Phạm Đăng An, Vice General Director of Vũ Phong Energy Group and Director of VP Carbon. Thank you so much for coming to our studio today.
Great, thank you very much for having me.
So firstly, the government's decision to pilot a carbon trading exchange signals a major shift in climate governance. So from a business perspective, what specific changes will this bring to how companies operate and plan their emission strategies over the next few years?
Carbon as a financial input will have to be managed. It will impact profitability, so the price of carbon, the amount of carbon which is emitted by an entity will actually have a financial implication. So that will impact financial planning. It will also require that companies consider how they wish to manage carbon within their company. And then related points to that will be, how does the use of carbon want to be managed or mitigated? New technology being introduced so that the cost that you are bearing as an emitter of carbon is potentially reduced through more efficient technology, or perhaps utilising carbon reduction projects as a means of generating new carbon credits and profitability.
Sounds like there's a lot of work on the regulatory level in order to ensure that the systems are in check and in place. But also some companies are pretty new at this and unfamiliar with emissions accounting or compliance-based trading. So how critical is capacity building at this stage, and what types of support do businesses actually need to engage effectively in the pilot program?
We need first the shop local classes, free template, and cloud tool, very important, cloud tool for SME or the medium companies, a list of trusted auditors, maybe even a carbon credit hotline, because the tax voucher or small loans can cover the first audit cost. First, you must do in Vietnamese. Real local case study for the order can learn. The second layer is the technical toolkit. Maybe we need a standard MRV template, an emission factor issued by the ministry, by government, so everyone can start on the same page. The third is the expert coaching. Maybe we need a carbon help desk hotline or chat service, GPT or AI chat, where the manager can get the fast answer while they filling their data, because this is very new we own.
Considering the timeline to 2028, when Vietnam aims to shift from free allowances to auction-based quotas, how should industries prepare for a future where carbon has a clear cost?
Even while allowances are still free, we can have still free from now to till around 2028, but you must use an internal price. Maybe you just use a round number, $10, $15. By the way, whichever, make the manager, the director pay attention. Add this cost into every project proposal, just like you add the cost of the electricity or the material. That means two things happen. The first, the hidden cost, survey, so unproductive, high carbon project, drop off the table. The engineer, the buyer, start looking for the low carbon option by the strategy, not by the memo. They must consider as a strategy.
And what about you, Denzel? What do you think about it?
You can effectively have modelling and shadow pricing to replicate the process which will be introduced when there's a full carbon market launched. So the shadow pricing can be used for the purpose of modelling the scenarios whereby your carbon actually has a real-term impact on the profitability of your company. So there can be a financial process internally which is used to prepare for that. Secondly, I think there can be a process of transition. So if companies are looking at this future cost, is the current operational model, is the current technology used optimal, or is it thought that perhaps in the course of the next 1 to 2 to 3 years that new technology and new operational process can be introduced to reduce the amount of carbon which is emitted. Then also, with respect to the issues which was discussed in terms of monitoring, really understanding how your business will be introducing the monitoring process. What is it that needs to be measured? What standards need to be adhered to with respect to that reporting? And are your teams internally fully qualified and capable of undertaking that, such that the data which your company generates is compliant with the international standard, and then having the assurance that the data which is generating is robust and sufficient. And that's a real challenge, because that data really needs to be very granular in its detail. It needs to be robust to third-party verification and testing.
This company specializes in producing bamboo products for export to the European and U.S. markets, which have strict regulations on product carbon footprints. The entire production process is chemical-free, forming a circular chain geared at green transformation. Beyond sustainable production, the company is also preparing its supply chain for a green transition to support its emission reduction plans.
Công ty đang tập trung về việc đào tạo nhận thức cho toàn bộ đội ngũ của doanh nghiệp, và cũng như là bắt đầu tìm hiểu về cái việc giảm khí thải carbon là như thế nào để vận hành vào trong doanh nghiệp.
Meanwhile, this consulting firm has successfully registered carbon credits for 22 projects in Vietnam. They expect the pilot carbon credit market to create significant opportunities for carbon credit holders.
It helps actually existing players to start exchanging certain benefits and certain carbon credits already in place.
Experts say Vietnam offers ideal conditions for businesses to tap into its abundant carbon credit supply.
Có cái diện tích là hơn 7 triệu hecta lúa, chăn nuôi, quản lý chất thải đô thị, thì đây là những cái lĩnh vực mà có tiềm năng tạo ra hàng chục triệu tín chỉ carbon hàng năm. Riêng các cái hoạt động phục hồi, quản lý, bảo vệ rừng, trong đó có rừng ngập mặn, thì có thể đóng góp tới 70 đến 40 triệu tín chỉ carbon trên một năm.
According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment, Vietnam has over 300 registered carbon credit projects. To date, the country has issued more than 40.2 million carbon credits across roughly 150 projects, all geared toward international trade. It also ranks among the world's top 4 countries in Clean Development Mechanism, CDM registrations, behind only China, Brazil, and India.
Definitely, where there are challenges, there will be a lot of opportunities as well. This might be a repeat of what you've already mentioned, but just for clarity, what are the biggest hurdles businesses face in generating verifiable and bankable carbon credits?
So I think there's an interesting component to this which probably underlies a successful business strategy, and that's having a coherent and committed approach to the strategy which is being deployed. And carbon credits do really reflect that approach. So demonstrating a good story to the reason as to why you are adopting carbon emissions reductions, why you are embracing the new carbon market will be key to confidence. So that it's not simply a alternative track, but it's part of a wider business strategy will be key. Really understanding how the monitoring and reporting and the use and development of data can support then that strategic decision will be key.
Yeah, and I guess we do have an advantage because a lot of other countries have done it before, so we have a lot of experience that we can rely on in terms of research and analysis. Carbon credit generation depend heavily on project design and verification. So what challenges do companies face in aligning with international measurement, reporting, and verification standards, especially those that are new to carbon accounting?
Go digital first, yes. Replace the paper logs with the secure smart meter, online with the verified auditor or blockchain or something you can apply to your business. And first, build a carbon swap. This will be a cross team, finance, engineering, operation. Because if you want to have a clear document and strong focus training and results. The last one, I think, you should bridge the people and the process gap with an incentive. Maybe the training in Vietnamese for own engineer, finance staff, and maybe the manager learn to work together with a single playbook.
In early July, the Prime Minister issued Decision 21, setting clear rules on what counts as a green project. The green taxonomy encompasses 7 sectors and 45 focus areas. It's seen as a crucial legal framework to unlock green finance. Previously, banks were wary to lend, unsure if projects truly qualified as green. This paper recycling company is planning a $1.9 million USD upgrade to recover 70% of wastewater. Under the new rules, it qualifies for cheaper green loans.
Hiện tại vốn chung và dài hạn doanh nghiệp đang vay là mức bình quân dao động khoảng 8%. Và so với một doanh nghiệp thì tôi nhận định mức này đang tương đối cao.
Banks also welcome the clarity. Currently, most green credit goes to clean energy and agriculture. Banks feel that without an official list, other sectors demand caution.
Chúng tôi cũng có một cơ sở pháp lý rõ ràng để lựa chọn và cho vay vào các cái dự án xanh phù hợp với tiêu chuẩn quốc gia và cũng phù hợp với các cái tiêu chuẩn quốc tế để tránh cái việc tái xanh, và các cơ quan quốc tế người ta cũng có cơ sở để khi mà đánh giá MB, đánh giá các cái tổ chức tín dụng cho vay xanh để chúng tôi phát hành các cái trái phiếu xanh quốc tế cũng thuận lợi hơn.
Under Decision 21, certification will be issued by authorities or independent assessors, but businesses expect the process to be transparent, simple, and to reduce the number of required business licenses. Experts add that Vietnam will need clear quantitative indicators in line with international practice.
So how do you think the recently issued Decision 21 on green project classification can support carbon credit generation projects?
This is very important within the context of a carbon market, because projects will then effectively be verified and there'll be a legal reference point for the basis on which those projects are clarified as and classified as green. So it's an important foundation through which then supplementary regulation with respect to the issuance of carbon credits can be added.
What policy or technical lessons from regional and international carbon credit trading systems do you think Vietnam should prioritize if it wants to build an effective exchange?
Maybe we can launch investor trust whenever rules change the mid-cycle. I'll tell you way is very simple. Publish a clear and long-term roadmap on day one. And the second is the digital backbone. If Vietnam want to become the IFC, International Finance Center, we must focus not only digital backbone, but maybe more than that, blockchain backbone.
So with Vietnam already engaging in bilateral mechanisms like the JCM with Japan, what opportunities do you see for regional integration or project-based linkages with ASEAN or other markets?
So I think there are two big advantages from the existing JCM relationship. First is the development of further bilateral relationships with countries within Asia. So using the tried and tested relationship that exists with Japan to being rolled out bilaterally through Asia. I think then the second is development of a regional framework through which standards developed in Vietnam can be compliant with or indeed form the foundation for those multilateral frameworks. So that's really ensuring that the monitoring, reporting and verification process is compliant. Perhaps we'll see both happening in parallel. More bilateral relationships such as the JCM, and then in parallel a multilateral framework being developed. But I think in terms of the medium term, an ASEAN carbon trading regime is something definitely to be the target.
And finally, what changes would you like to see in Vietnam's regulatory environment to further support carbon credit trading?
We must define carbon credits as financial assets. One law, one registry, one standard, and we can set a stable VAT. That means one-stop digital portal for project approval, streamlined administrative procedures, project registration, validation, trading process should be simple.
Well, thank you so much to the both of you for joining us for this very interesting conversation today.
Thank you very much.